Beauty is a thing apart. It may require little explanation, or it may be inexplicable. It never subtracts, but always adds graciousness and charm to all it touches. Beauty is composed of many parts. Color is one, yet color alone is not enough. Line, form, perspective, lighting, so many things are part of the pattern. It is an intangible experience, sometimes simple, sometimes lavish. Yet it may lay hidden for few to see, or it may flaunt its presence across the land. There is beauty in the graceful sweep of sea plants, but this is a beauty of resourcefulness. For in the camouflaged protective coloring of the sea animals which inhabit the tidal waters, there are patterns and designs. There are resources for beauty in the cliffs and rocks. Agates, amethysts, and semi-precious stones in outcroppings of rock laid down millions of years ago await finding, polishing, and mounting. Clay has long been a source of life for living things. But to the potter, it is something to be gathered for pounding, kneading, and shaping into forms of beauty. The glazes for pottery may be found in the mineral deposits, where the variety in color and substance lend versatility to the craftsman's hands. So, from the land which bestows beauty, the resources are also given which perpetuate its images and enrich our daily life. In the homes of today, the homespuns of yesterday take on new character. A renaissance in the field of arts and crafts has taken place. With the coming of the machine age in the 19th century, craftsmen left the potter's wheel and the handmade looms, and the skilled hands temporarily lost their proficiency in the ancient crafts. But the efficiency of machinery did not satisfy the creative urge. The folk arts were revived. Hands once again set to the task of interpreting beauty. The arts and crafts became a special way of living, lending graciousness to homes and public places. From the urge to express themselves and meet their primitive needs, all men of antiquity were artisans. The raw materials and natural resources of their countryside were their tools and supply. It was natural to copy the color and bold outline of the countryside in their crafts. Nature was their teacher, and the desire to transform the designs they saw into some tangible form created unique talents. Today, this urge for expression finds outlets in training classes and workshops across the land. In Nova Scotia, there is provincial assistance for talented hands. Weaving is one of the oldest crafts, but the design may be as new and symbolic as the Nova Scotian tartan. The white thread represents the white line of surf. The blue, a blue October sky arching over a blue sea. The greens, the trees of the province. The red and gold stripe represents the lion rampant and the royal charter. Through the medium of wool and color, the heritage of Nova Scotia became imprinted on a tartan. Clay is the most malleable of the craftsman's materials, but the trickery of the potter's wheel is deceptive. In learning how to handle it, in discovering how to remove air bubbles and work with its texture and adhesiveness, the novice is soon acquainted with the intricacies of a simple appearing art. From the natural resources came the designs which are the physical evidence of beauty. Their creation embraces knowledge of line, form, mass, space, and balance. They have as many forms and phases as there are fields of art, but the design must always complement the medium. In adapting the patterns of nature to crafts, the character of Nova Scotia is shaped. From these training schools, from these conversion shops for talent, comes the province-wide handcraft industry. Whether the wayside shops resulted from individual effort or practical training, the result is the same. An offering of forms of beauty to those who travel on the open road. The cutting of semi-precious stones found in the rocky shores and cliffs is a delicate operation. The translucent quality of agate, jasper, and other Nova Scotian stones was formed eons ago when quartz and minerals in solution poured into cracks and crevices and solidified. The cutting and polishing is a skill requiring patience and precision. It is also one of delight and anticipation. The craftsman can never predict the color and pattern beneath the rough surface. The design was set and stabilized by hands older than his. To present the delicate beauty of a stone in its full glory, it must be mounted. Through the medium of silver, the craftsman has a ready ally. Hand wrought into bracelets, earrings, and pins, silver working is an ancient and favored craft. The dull luster and simplicity of the metal provides a natural mount to set off the exquisite variations of color and design embodied in the stone. Pottery is the oldest art. Out of clay, primitive people fashioned vessels to carry water and cook their food. The wheel, the familiar tool of the potter, soon followed the vessels to become their molder. As the hands became more adept at shaping the wedges of clay on the turning wheel, the personalities of the craftsmen became evident. Through the years, the practical craft of the potter developed into the decorative art of ceramics. The glazes which give pottery its texture and color stem from many sources. In the mineral glazes, the shimmering green of malachite may be tested against the dull gray of silica or the off-white texture of garnet sand. Each mineral, when used in solution with the basic glaze formula, has a distinctive color characteristic. Its use is studied so that new knowledge and appeals may be added to old crafts. In spraying the glaze on the clay forms, the work of the potter is finished. The furnace now has its chore to perform. When fired in the intense heat of the kiln, the glazes fuse with the clay to create a single entity, a complete work of art. Through the medium of clay, the dream becomes a form, the form becomes an object, and the mineral resources of a province add luster through the element of fire. As the potter uses the wheel to give shape and form to inert lumps of clay, the woodworker uses his lathe to fashion the wood that he turns into decorative and useful articles. The lathe is merely the tool. It is the adept fingers of the artisan and his sense of proportion that make of his craft an art. The beauty that lies hidden beneath the rough bark of birch, maple, and other native trees is coaxed to the surface. Gently rubbed and burnished, the natural loveliness of the woods offers a fit medium for the labor of an artist. Wood sculpture is a special application of the woodworker's trade. It can take its place among the fine arts. Full-size figures or small objects, the hands must be sure and the skills long established. Using the natural sweep and curve of the grain to give life and movement to sculptured pieces, the worker in wood is dependent more than any other craftsman upon his sure sense of form to give substance to the image in his mind. As fire gives life to pottery, the forge gives versatility to the ironmonger. In bygone years, the medium of iron was, for the most part, practical in its uses. Blacksmith shops existed to service mankind. Today, the ring of metal on metal has a new significance. The voice of the smithy, clangoring to be heard, tells of iron bars being bent and twisted on the anvil to please the housewife and artist, as well as the practical man. Candlesticks, tables, and other wrought iron decorative pieces find a welcome niche in the homes and offices of the modern world. So out of the need for expression, each craftsman became his own teacher and participant in the field of applied arts. In the art of rugmaking, the satisfaction comes from watching the tracery of line and form emerge from the faceless canvas as the threads of wool slowly cover the fabric. In the science of vegetable dyeing, the craftsmen have extracted from the flowers, herbs, and vegetables color and consistency. The natural fade-proof dyes have a warm, soft hue, well suited for use in murals and tapestries. The products of the cutting table, grinder, and polisher are as one with the handcrafts that flow from the ever-restless wheel, traveling shuttle, and turning lathe. Art is universal, and its images are many. As the poets and writers describe beauty through the medium of words and pictures, so the craftsmen of Nova Scotia express themselves and their province in forms of beauty fashioned from raw materials. In their talented hands, the elusive charm of their province becomes a thing to see, understand, and cherish.